and that is why you are Azimio roast. That's why you are Azimio roast.
Let's
put it this way. You know, I laugh. You know, you never learn. You never learn. The same way you are falsifying facts last year with your Azimio is the same way you are falsifying it now. The same way you had skewed panels during that time is the same way you have skewed panel now. The same way you are using fake opinion polls that time that tell you that Azimio was winning is what I've seen in that panel now. Anyway, let's get back to the facts. Let me start with fuel. Now, on the issue of fuel, we have something called PDL, Petroleum Development Levy. The purpose of this PDL is what we call making hay when the sun shines. That let me accumulate some money as a buffer so that when the global dynamics are not in my favor, then I can be able to use that to cushion the consumer. That money was deducted from the consumer. Where did you want it to go? The right thing is, after you accumulate it, you tell them, Mr. Consumer, Mr. Motorist, Mr. Passenger, I have now accumulated so much money because you are the one who gave me this money. It is only right and fair that I give this money back to you. You know, so then you guys go all over saying it's a subsidy. It is not a subsidy. This money, we saved it from every liter of petrol to go to some kitty as a safeguard so that now when the situation is not very favorable, we don't have our own crude oil, we don't produce oil, then that goes back there. Number two, because of the situation in the U.S., whereby inflation in the U.S. is at the highest. You know, you look at the interest rate, 5% interest rate in the U.S. market is never heard of. The whole world is suffering because of the actions of the U.S. You know what they did during COVID? They printed money. And you know what we are doing? We are all paying for that. You've had everyone. You've had President RUTO. You've had Antonio Gutierrez, who is not a member of Kenya Kwanza, talk about this unfair, practice by the U.S. and by the, global North that we in the South are suffering like that. So is this Antonio Gutierrez at one? So is this all those people who are talking about all this?
Did you know this during the campaigns?
Sorry, say that again.
Did you know this about during the campaigns about what the U.S. had done?
No, they had not done it that particular time. Since this year only, my friend, just go to the U.S. and look at the interest rate on what has happened in the interest rate. We've been talking about, I don't know where you guys have been, we've been talking about the unfair financial system in the world. Antonio Guterres was here, Japanese Prime Minister was here. We've talked about it all the time and saying, look, it is not fair to expect the global South to continue paying for the unfair practices of the North. And all these things that you mentioned, the whole thing of a fair financial system in the world is coming here, as it is in Uganda, as it is in all these countries. But you know what? What worries me is that when I talk to the actual people, and I think Dindi Nyoro has mentioned this, when I talked to the people who voted for us, overwhelmingly. How come they get this more than you guys who claim to be educated? How come these farmers, I was in Transo here last week, how come these farmers get it? How come they are telling me they are taking, selfies in their maize plantations? They are actual people who voted for us. But because of snake oil salesmen in royal media and in all these other places, you continue getting, I have never seen, I've never seen people who are more consistent than royal media. You are consistent at getting it wrong.
Just hold on. We're just starting the conversation, and it would be important that we focus on facts. I have told you that the price of unga was 200 shillings plus September 2022. Today, it is a range of between 170 shillings to 200 shillings. Is that an Azimio figure, or is the reality in the market? But also, what do you explain to Kenyans? Even if there's a bumper harvest, the price of a packet of food has not come down.
I think some, because you're talking about facts, and facts are stubborn, you say it was 200 and
shillings plus, yes.
200 plus, it was 220.
Yes.
250. Add the subsidy, because that was after subsidy.
No, that was after the subsidy had expired.
No, that was after the consumer subsidy.
The subsidy had expired in August.
No, let's have a subsidy. Let us put a subsidy of like 20 shillings there. So the actual price, the real price, because it was still subsidy was coming from the pockets of Kenyans, was somewhere in the region of 270 shillings, down to 170. Before the harvest, we have not put consumer
Let us talk about
subsidies.
the facts. The subsidy had expired in August. I'm talking about the price 13th of September 2022.
Granted.
Moses KURIA, you're a smart guy.
Thank you.
The president listens to you. Why don't you tell him that SHA is not working?
I'll tell him in the morning. And I tell him all the time what is not working. Am I saying that SHA is perfect? SHA is not perfect. There are things, for me, I would want to see improved.
Like what?
For example, two issues I want to see improved. One is the way how do Kenyans complain if they have a problem with SHA? Be it, I went to this hospital, I was turned away. Be it, the system was down. Be it, it took so much time. Right now, one, it is Kenyans' word against our word. Shouldn't be like that. Two, for those people who are complaining, they need to know Richard Onyonka or Moses KURIA or media guy Jeff Koinange. It shouldn't be like that. S in SHA is not for sugar. It is for social, meaning it's for everybody. It's supposed to be everybody. And I think with wisdom of hindsight, that is one thing that has caused a lot of problems. Yeah, the fact that we didn't have clear channels for people to give feedback. Because even now, people tell me, oh, SHA is not working, SHA is working. First of all, I have no way of knowing even what they're telling me. And even and them, they have no way to prove it to me. So I think going forward, and the one thing we have, and I want to say on this show, that one of the things that I had to fix before coming to this show is to ensure that Kenyans have got a channel for which they can complain whether they know someone. You don't need to know big people for you to be able to complain. So I'm now telling Kenyans, one, on SMS, 147, yeah? On call, we have now a full-fledged call center. Again, you just call 147. You'll be given a ticket number. So that if you tell me this Kenyan said it's not working, I'll ask them, give me their ticket number so that I can be able to go back to the system. Right now, that for me is a big gap within the system.
Senator.
Equally,
Yes.
Equally, the issue of, for those people who are going online, and that is why we are going to put all the information, why do I go to hospital, what is covered, what is not covered, on one public resource, taifacare.go.ke, which is coming up within the next 7 days, so that you can go in there and also lodge your complaint, see which tariff is working where, see which hospital has been contracted, not contracted. So I think more and more is more of communication and more of exchange of information. Other than that, in my opinion, we are doing exception to actually move much faster. Actually, Uganda might be our saving grace. Uganda might be our saving grace because of the years we've lost since Talo left, and Uganda has remained consistent. One of the things that when we had the IPO for Kenya Pipeline, one of the things that and Uganda did put in quite some good money. And I was talking to the Ugandans last week, and one of their main considerations for investing in a pipeline is something called reverse pumping. That the pipeline goes this way, but by the time we are done, they'll be pumping back using our pipeline because they have accelerated.
Yeah.
So again, in Kenya, we will pay the price because of this stop go kind of thing. But it's good to see that the people who took over from Talo are back in Turkana, because that's the only solution. Even if we don't export, on the very minimum, let us be self-sufficient.
Isn't it ironic that Uganda relies on Kenya to transport fuel to them? And now we're going to be importing if they get their act right.
Absolutely. And that's because of clear decision-making. And Museveni makes decisions and that's it. Yes. Sometimes you can only... I really admire the model of decision-making in Uganda. Nobody goes to court. Yeah, nobody, keeps on all these arguments. So it's for someone like me who has lived in the Arab world, you can see, a similar pattern of decisiveness, where decisions are taken and that's it. Unfortunately, in our case, we have to listen to everybody.
So you're saying that benevolent dictatorship is better than outright democracy?
Absolutely. It's okay. Democracy is good, but it has got a twin brother called hunger. Yes. Yes, people are hungry. Yes. So you can't keep on subjecting every other decision into kind of procrastination and the kind of back and forth. like we have in our case, policy reversals. Now, we went ahead with the pipeline, with the, what do you call this one, the airport. Then you have to turn back, and then there was power transmission, and then you have to turn back. That kind of thing is not going to happen in Museveni's world of Uganda.
Or Kagame's.
Or Kagame's. And despite Kenya being a bigger economy, our promise of takeoff continues to be hampered by that kind of, paralysis by analysis.